hello, friends. David Nuno here with TexAgs Rewind. Luke Evangelos is with us. Also, Nick Savage. I'm going to let him say a word or two. How are you guys doing? Nick, you started off, buddy.
I'm good.
That was brief and to the point.
You
Luke?
said word or two.
Yeah.
I said 2 words.
Yeah, I know. Things are awkward between us. So the relationship's struggling. Luke, how are we?
I'm good.
Struggling relationship there as well. What was your favorite part of the show today, Luke?
Gotta be. Absolutely has to be.
You forgot the show, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I'm just looking at the rundown. Max Johnson, 23 and 23. Great analysis by OB, you, and Billy on why he is valuable to the team. That was my favorite part.
Ron Burgundy. It seems like you were reading off the teleprompter there. Tim Brando made the show, and look, there's a lot of you that don't like to hear Timmy be on TexAgs. Well, you know what? Sorry, he was actually pretty good today. Pretty good. We also did Billy Liucci in studio, and 6 reasons A&M will improve in 23. Well, I gave 6. OB gave 6. That makes 12 because we're poetic like that. It's TexAgs Rewind. All right, OB. So I tasked you with finding 6 reasons why A&M will be better in 2023. I chose the number of 6 because look at the creative mind here. You do 6, I do 6. That gives us
12.
That's
a sacred number here.
It is. Had we both done 12, the segment would never end.
Right.
I do want to open it up to the texters. If you got 6 little bullet points, we'll try to get through those there at 8:50 or so. So, OB, we may share some of the same 6, but you want to tell me what some of your reasons?
Yeah, I'll start with the Petrino influence.
Yep.
Just adding that to the offense. I think the offense will be better there. I think the more experience across the board.
Our list is very similar so far.
Okay, I'm going to say health. We heard Jimbo Fisher just the other day say, with the exception of Reuben Fatherly, that they're going to bring along slowly. They're healthy, so let's figure the law of averages are going to be with them, and they're not going to have a plague of injuries this year. So the health. I think the schedule is to A&M's advantage.
Okay.
When it's never easy in the SEC, especially the SEC West, but when you got Alabama, Auburn, and Mississippi State, we know the issues that A&M has had in Starkville all coming to your place. I think the schedule's in your favor. I think, quite frankly, the talent.
Yep.
When I look at A&M's roster, I think there's probably only 3 teams in the SEC that wouldn't immediately trade rosters with Texas A&M. I think they have that much talent, and some of those other 3 might, but I think A&M's talent is right there. And then I'm going to say the culture is changing. Last year, we heard all the rumors and stuff about a divided team. You had some bad I don't want to call them bad guys. You had some immature guys that didn't fit, and it just disrupted everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last year I thought they were overrated, and they were. I mean, 5-7 based on a number 6 preseason ranking. Listen, this is what happens all the time. Everybody gets caught up in spring and summer, and they look at recruiting, and then they look at transfers, and then they say, okay, who we got coming back? And then they rank teams. and on the basis of what performance that they've seen most recently by their teams. And a good number of these players do return. I mean, I know fewer of them return now than used to because of the portal and because of NIL. I get that. But, I think the Petrino hire was actually a good one. The media is having a blast with the potential, what they believe is the inability for 2 good minds to work together offensively. The Petrino hire is seen, I think, from 30,000 feet by much of the mass media as a desperation move on the part of Jimbo. And I don't see that at all. I mean, I really don't. I see it as Jimbo being confident enough and understanding that he's got a pretty good deal, that he needs to look in the mirror and see what the problem is. And maybe he needs to shelve some of the responsibility of play calling. That's how I see it. And I think it's actually very wise. He's not the first guy to ever do this. And yet a lot of people, he went through, I thought, now he didn't handle it particularly well, but Jimbo's not the greatest interview. I mean, he's just not. So he gets defensive very quickly, and that allows a lot of the media to pounce. I like the schedule. I like the way they finish. And I think that they certainly have the talent. When expectations are lowered, and I think expectations have been lowered, it frees teams up a little bit. And I think that A&M has the personnel. I mean, look, they did beat an LSU team that everyone felt was the story of the season, and they were.
He goes into Jerry World, and things start out really rough for A&M. And then he outduels KJ Jefferson, first of all, by making less mistakes. Secondly, by making some plays. Couple big throws and multiple big runs. And A&M wins that football game. It was a couple of must-win games. Now, then the next week against Mississippi State, I heard y'all talking, things start to fall apart there. That was that game was probably as bad an O-line play as I've seen them have this year. And then he breaks the hand late. But what Max did last year it was very impressive. And I keep saying, and people don't understand what I'm saying by this, I guess. When a guy has that kind of resume, both here and at another SEC school, and you're Jimbo Fisher and you watched him beat you that day, whereas I said in Nashville to somebody on one of the segments I did, he beat A&M by himself that day in Baton Rouge. Well, with some help from the officials with that fumble, but that wasn't when Max was on the field. LSU won that game because of how Max Johnson played and nothing else. That was it. There wasn't a receiver that went off. There wasn't.
Yep.
It was Max Johnson making plays down the stretch of that football game, but despite Michael Clemens and Tyree Johnson annihilating him on seemingly every drop back. The dude can play. Everybody in Bright knows it. The kids that come in here know it. The coaches know it. Bobby Petrino knows it. Connor Wigman knows it. I don't think it's what I don't like is when I sit here and it's not. I don't care what people say about what we say, but for Max and even Connor, when you're sitting there going, there's a competition going on over there this camp, and people that don't believe that because they know what Connor can be, and I believe, and I think you do too, what Connor will be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like Johnny. It's not even the same, but it's similar. Johnny having to beat out Jameel Showers, who had the big arm, and everybody thought the NFL future when he gets his chance. I'll tell you one that would have played a lot, and as time went on, eventually probably would have cracked into the starting lineup is McKinley Jackson.
I thought you were going to go there.
He's that good. He's that good, and injuries slowed him last year and the year before, but he's that good. But here's the thing. You go on and you say, and Damani's really good, but maybe there were times where he could have. But because there were some times in the 90s there, like after the Patrick Bates, and I mentioned Dennis Allen, but like after that, there weren't always the first, second, third round safeties. There was a gap there. Rich Cody came in and filled that for a little bit. He was a third rounder, I believe. But the reality is the guys are young. And so I say, you look across that defensive front, and it's like, pick a name. Pick a name and get back to me. I don't know, because they just played their first year of college football.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Bryce Anderson, Jacoby Matthews. You look at, up front, Walter Nolan, L.T. Overton, Shamar Stewart, Shamar Turner, who I just mentioned, who's a year older. Gabe Brownlow-Dindy, who hasn't really gotten to play yet. You've got DJ Hicks. You've got, I'm just going down the list here, and Malik Silla and Eni White. What I'm saying is these guys played. They have tape that at times is really impressive against Southeastern Conference teams as 17 and 18-year-olds. That's all we have to go on right now. So I can't pick any one of those dudes. I could tell you who I think is most likely to get there, but I can't pick any one of those dudes and say, oh, yeah, they would have started on Wrecking Crews.
So I mentioned earlier that I like regional college football. Luke, I think you agreed with me. And then the Ag Engineering 12 was like, why do we need a full West Coast conference? They don't have enough quality teams from a conference worth watching. And, how many Pac-12 games did you really watch last year? Not that many, but I watched some. Look, I don't think I'm a good example because on game day for about 7 hours, I am locked in completely on A&M, pregame, game, and afterwards, right? So maybe even longer. Maybe it's 8 hours of just A&M. I'm not really watching other games. But when I get back to the hotel room or home, I put a Pac-12 game on. Luke, you watch some Pac-12?
Oh, I watch Pac-12 every Saturday. I'm not even joking. Like I
believe
really,
that
I
about
really enjoy watching other teams play college football.
Nick, do you?
Yeah, if it's on, for sure. I mean,
It's always on.
Yeah.
So then yes.
okay, thanks.
Like, comment, subscribe. That's how it ends.